Hello, this is Robert of Deadartstudios, and this is Painting with Deadartstudios. And today we're on the second part of the work on my acrylic impasto ocean scene with the beach, sunset sky and ocean. And in the second part I'm actually doing some painting work on it, whereas in the first we started and was filling in cracks and working on sort of the base background colours and getting a bit of deep colour on the horizon. This time I'm carrying on with those deep colours but moving all over the painting and trying to improve it with the aim of creating a bit of depth to it, back to that horizon point between the blue ocean and the, at this point, magenta sky. So I'm just using quite a fine brush here, dragging across, trying to create that dark line that I was looking for, to try and create a bit of that depth. And I hope everyone's happy and doing well. It's been the festive period and I've been spending time with my family and it's been pretty good, but it's also been pretty dark and wet, as it always is here in the UK and at this time of year anyway. And yes, I'm looking forward to the new year and getting lots done, so I'm feeling a bit more energised about that, and hopefully we will get lots done this year with my painting and my YouTube channel, so that's going to be interesting and exciting to do. So here, yes, I'm just working on the top bit, using a sort of magenta colour. I think I mixed it a little to maybe make it a little lighter, and now we're changing colour to what looks like primary cyan, I think. And was thinking about going straight from the tube, and then I think I changed my mind and put some on the palette. My palette's just a yogurt pot lid anyway, so I eat a lot of fat-free Greek yogurt for the protein, and I save the lids, and then that's quick palettes, and then you can just give them a quick rinse and just recycle them as you would do anyway, and that's an easy way to paint. I suppose it's a bit more difficult if you want to save your palette and keep it wet and all that kind of thing, which you can do, and that would be nice for, if you were doing a really detailed piece that required you to mix the same colours and keep them, mixing colours and getting them the same every time, if you've done them yourself, can be very difficult. So maybe then a yogurt pot lid is not the optimum choice, but for this it seemed to be fine. So I'm darkening still on the horizon, and I think it might be, I don't think it's ultramarine, I think it is primary cyan, but it could be mixed with a little bit of ultramarine just to darken it. And I'm just using the same small brush to go across. And I've been working on lots of paintings recently. I've done a bit tonight on one of my abstract oil paintings, and the other day I've done 2 sessions on a new acrylic on canvas, which is a volcano landscape that I kind of just made up, but I just wanted to paint a landscape scene, and for some reason I painted a sort of volcano in the background. It looks kind of cool, and I'm going to try and finish that in 3 sessions, maybe 4, but hopefully 3. And I've recorded a fair chunk of the second session of that, so that'll be coming up pretty shortly on the channel if you're interested, so tune in for that. And apart from that, I've been sketching, doing my 10-minute portraits on TikTok, and I had my painting there too, but the sketches seem to be quite popular, so that's what I've been doing daily, and it's great practice, as I've said before, for the hand-eye coordination. I think it's really difficult to do a good portrait in 10 minutes, and it's probably not the best way to improve, because to improve you should probably spend a little bit of time on it, because you're always going to run into the same mistakes, aren't you, and not really have time to correct them. But sometimes they're terrible and I hate them, and then other times I think for the time I've spent on them, they're not super bad. So yeah, I have to say I've got a slightly sore throat this evening, and this winter has been the worst I can remember for rain and catching respiratory infections, sore throats, colds, viruses, it's just been one after the other. And, if you have a young child who's at nursery, then you know that you're going to get everything. But it seems to be that way for everybody this year. I really don't know what's been happening. You'd sort of expect to get one and be done with it. So anyway, I'm doing this with a declining voice, which actually, I think since I've started this channel, I've been doing everything with some kind of cold. And that was back in October time. So there you go. Hopefully, a bit of sun in February, if we're lucky, and some vitamin D in the body. It might help. I take my supplements. I'm not sure it's hitting the spot. So anyway, slight diversion into my life of illness. But, this is kind of what the channel's about. It's just about me and my painting and the interplay between it both, I guess. And if you want to sit down and listen and just watch me randomly paint things and talk even more randomly, then you're in the right place. So I had some crazy ideas with this impasto painting, and I started to get doubt about it, and doubt creeps into my mind all the time with painting. And, well, most things that I do, actually. And a sort of perfectionist streak, and I always want to destroy my work for some reason. If I get at a point where I think it's not great, or augment it, I suppose. It's almost like, I don't know, some kind of painting body dysmorphia or something. And I was thinking about putting it in the table saw, sort of standing it up on its edge, setting the table saw very narrowly and taking like the impasto bit of it off, making it kind of flat but raised, a bit like the Stanley knife work at the bottom, but across the whole painting. And in a way it interests me as to what would happen if I do that, and I might use the same technique and try it, but not with this one, just to see. So you could put lots of different colours and layers on, and then it could do that and sort of get an interesting look of all the different colours sort of showing through. So that could be something to try. But I have in fact now taught myself out of table sawing this painting, so that's probably for the best. And I'm just painting in a bit more sort of lighter medium blues into the ocean at the back there, where the waves are supposed to be breaking a little bit more, and also there into the forefront a little bit. So I hope you guys have all been doing well, and you're as happy as you can be and as relaxed as you can be, and if you did celebrate the festive period, that was a recharge. It might not have been a recharge. It's such a busy time, and this year I really didn't feel the benefit of eating more and eating basically food that's bad for you, high sugar and stuff, and I've actually already cut it all out and feeling better for it. So I'm almost thinking that maybe Christmas, the festive period, is in some ways some of the old traditions that we set for it, which have probably just been around since sort of Victorian times, so they're not like super old or historical, but maybe even later living. I mean, it could be a capitalism thing, a sort of like capitalism, consumerism thing. I'm just wondering whether I need to next year eat all the same rubbish basically that you eat every year, the high sugar, high fat stuff, and whether I should just keep it simple, maybe feel better for it. So we'll see. I may well change my mind by the time I get round to the same time next year. So I'm hoping at some point to get this painting finished but I don't really know how much more I need to do to it to make it good, and there's definitely some bits of it that I'm not happy with. But if I stick it in a frame and stand a long way from it, it does actually look alright. And I suppose the problem I have with it, I don't really feel like, when you do art and painting, you kind of want to be, or at least I do, like done something a bit edgy, or, that feels like art. This is art. And this just feels a bit like pretty cute, and I don't know, for that reason, put me off a bit. I think I need to push that to one side and just accept it is what it is. I'm doing a wash on this bit, I think, out some very thin paint, but I think I overdid it, so I tried to sort of thin it out a bit towards the end. So this sea foam on the front, I didn't really want to be so white, so tried to change the colour, but I think, like I say, there's a sort of artificial thing going on with this painting that I don't like. I like the colours individually, and I like the bright boldness of it, and then somehow, I could have gone for all the more neutrals, and made it look more like an actual landscape that you'd see in real life. But like I say, it kind of is. It's developed this way. It's become what it is with my help, and I think I've got to carry on with it and not put it in a table saw. So anyway, the thing is, I like table saws and tools in general, so it's not difficult for me to convince myself to attack something with a power tool at the best of times. And it can be very difficult to attempt it. My daughter had a piñata for her birthday, and we needed to mount it into a door frame. And there's a sort of concealed bit. I thought, I'll put a little screw in that. And I got my impact driver out for it. And then, luckily, it didn't actually fit in the gap I wanted to push the screw up into. And I was just like, it took me a while to realise that an impact driver might be overkill. And I could have just done it by hand with a screwdriver, which is exactly what I did. And sometimes that gentle by hand technique is what's required, and an insanely powerful high torque impact driver isn't. So anyway, these are lessons that I still continue to learn in life. So more work on the ocean here. Basically, the general idea now is to get as many different hues and colours and shades into the ocean as possible to create a sort of a diversity in it and a depth to it. And I think I'm going to have to blend out that greeny bit at the front and bottom a little bit more, and just generally add a lot more colours to the whole piece and complicate it in that fashion. And I think that'll make it more viewable. And I might have to go, a bit dirtier with the colours, a bit muddier, especially down on the beach there. I mean, beach sand is not super bright yellow, is it? And I know it doesn't matter, but that's almost toxic yellow, really. So that's going to be needed to brown off a bit with a bit of maybe some burnt sienna or raw umber in the yellow. But then I do want to keep the little punch of the colours as well, so yeah. Anyway, this is the second half of the video, and that's the end of this particular session on this painting. So I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you want to come back and see more, there will be more. Next is the volcano painting. That starts part way through because I just did it randomly one night and started it. Didn't record it. There is a short of it starting off though, if you're interested. A reel, is it? Short, reel, who knows anymore. Anyway, hope you had a good evening. I'll see you soon.